So this is chapter 16, part 2 of the advice for caregivers. And I promised if I remembered something more, I would make another recording. And I remembered one more important thing. When Mommy had diapers delivered, they were diapers, not pull-ups. I don't know if you can get adult pull-ups. Maybe you can. You don't want those. You want adult diapers because the pull-ups, you have to, well, sometimes you can detach them from either side without pulling them down, because if you pull them down, you might have an incident like I spoke of in one of the chapters with the crystals popping all over the place. But yes, for the adult diapers, they're very thin, which means you'll go through a lot of them, which means you would have to subject your loved one to more frequent diaper changes, which could be really stressful on your loved one and cause them to exert more energy than maybe they can, because you have to do it so often. So my trick was to buy their regular pads that you use when you're on your period, only they're the heavy ones, so they're overnight pads. And I would take 2 of those and I would line Mommy's diapers with them. I wish I had a photograph of how I did it, but it's really easy. I would just put them open up the diaper, lay them side by side, vertically, and when Mommy would urinate, this was before she had the catheter, when Mommy would urinate, those would make the diapers strong for, wow, I didn't have to, where I was changing Mommy every hour and a half or so, I was changing her every 3 to 4 hours, which was really good because it absorbed the wetness away from her tushy, and she didn't have to be subjected to all of the diaper changes. Eventually it was better to just catheter, because then the wetness didn't have to be against Mommy's tush at all. So that was better in the end, but in the beginning I was using the diapers, and that was the trick I used. So I also promised that I was going to talk about some funny moments with Mommy, and there were lots of them, but these 3 came to mind. The first one was when Mommy was actually in the hospital, and she really wanted to come home. She wanted to come home so badly, but she couldn't walk. So I said, Mommy, you're not going to be able to come home because you can't walk. And I said, but eventually you are coming home. I said, probably in a few days. And, she started giving me that little boo-boo face and being sad. And she said, but I don't have to walk to get home. I don't have to walk. And I said, well, Mommy, how am I going to get you home? And she said, well, you call a taxi and you have them drive into my room, and then when they open the door from the back, then I can just shake myself until I shake into the taxi, and then we can go home. And I just laughed and I said, Mommy, you are so silly. I said, no taxi cab can drive into your room and you shake your body into it from the back. So that was one funny moment. Another one was when Mommy liked watching reality shows. So we were watching this show called Say Yes to the Dress. You may have heard of it, where a bride will go to this bridal place, and they keep on looking at gowns, and they do that for about a half hour, and then the host will say, so are you saying yes to the dress? And then the bride jumps up and down, and eventually they say, I'm saying yes to the dress. So Mommy, when little girl Mommy popped out, that one was just so taken with the show Say Yes to the Dress. And Mommy'd have this big smile on her face and she would be clapping. And so she was eating some cornbread because she wanted some and I brought her some. And she's just enjoying the show. And so some crumbs, I was eating some cornbread too. And my hand was above Mommy. So of course Mommy's in the bed and my hand was above her blanket. And she said, wait a minute. Don't drop any crumbs on my Say Yes to the Dress. You're messing up my dress, my wedding dress. And she had this look on her face like she was actually wearing a wedding dress and she thought I was going to get crumbs from the cornbread on her Say Yes to the Dress. So I thought that was funny. And the last one happened at the condo. So Mommy had on her adult diaper, which I refer to as her panties, because I wanted her to keep her pride. But every time I came into Mommy's room, she had been, she'd be scratching if she itched. And I'm sure when you're wearing those adult diapers, then your skin can itch, which is why I tried to keep powder and moisturizing cream on her bottom. But when I come into Mommy's room, I noticed that one of the tabs, because there's a tab on either side, the fasteners, one would be undone. And so I said, Mommy, are you trying to take off your panties? Did you take this tab off? And she said, oh no, I didn't take that off. I wouldn't take that off. And I said, okay, Mommy, you better not be trying to undo that and trying to scratch. I said, just if you want me to put some more powder on your tushy or something, just let me know and I'll do it. But don't you do it. And she said, I wouldn't do that. So I went into the kitchen to get her something to eat, and when I came back, the other tab was undone. So now they're both undone. And I said, Mommy, how in the world is this happening? I said, you just told me that you didn't undo the first tab. I go into the kitchen and I come back and the second one is undone. I said, how is that possible? And she said, I really don't know, babe. I really don't know. She said, but I think you need to call the company because I think these diapers are defective. And I said, Mommy, I think you're defective. And I just kissed her and I started putting tape on the tabs so that she couldn't undo the diapers. So she was so funny and I miss her terribly. And I hope this series has made you laugh and given you something to think about while you're taking care of your loved one, especially if it happens to be a parent. And above all else, I hope it makes you remember that anything that you're doing it out of love for that person. And it's possible to do, and I will help you if I can. This is the end of the series.